I now yield to the ranking member for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me just start out by saying, Mr. Chu, that I don't find what you suggested with Project Texas and this firewall that's being suggested to whoever will be acceptable to me. In other words, you know, I still believe that the Beijing Communist government will still control and have the ability to influence what you do. And so this idea, this Project Texas, is simply not acceptable. According to a recent report, TikTok is on target to make between $15 and $18 billion in revenue this year. Is that an accurate forecast?
Congressman, as a private company, we are not sharing our revenue numbers
That's what you
publicly.
would say. How much money will TikTok make by delivering personalized advertisements just to your users in the United States? Will you give me that information?
Again, Congressman, respectfully, as a
I
private
thought
company,
that's
we're
what
not
you would
disclosing
say.
that.
Look, the impression you're giving, and I know, you know, I can understand why you're trying to give that impression, is that, you know, that you're just performing some kind of public service here, right? I mean, this is a benign company that's just performing a public service. Maybe that's not what you're saying, but I don't buy it, right? My concern here is primarily about the privacy issue, the fact that TikTok is making all kinds of money by gathering private information about Americans that they don't need for their business purposes, and then they sell it. And I mentioned this legislation that the chair and I have that would minimize data collection and make it much more difficult for TikTok and other companies to do that. So if you want to make some commitments today, I'll ask you to make some commitments with regard to this legislation. And, you know, you're going to tell me, well, the bill isn't passed, and so therefore I don't have to do it. But, you know, you say you're benign, you want to do good things for the public. So let me ask you, why not, what about a commitment that says that you won't sell the data that you collect? Would you commit to that, not selling the data you collect?
Congressman, I believe we don't sell data to any data brokers.
You don't sell to anyone.
We don't sell data to data brokers.
I didn't ask you data brokers. You sell it to anyone. In other words, under our bill, you could only use the data for your own purposes, not to sell it to anyone. Would you commit to not selling your data to anyone?
Congressman, I actually am in support of some rules around
I didn't
privacy.
ask you whether rules. I asked you whether the company, TikTok, would commit to not selling its data to anyone and just using it for its own purposes internally.
I can get back to you on the details
Okay,
of that.
get back to me. All right. Another thing that's in our bill says that we would prohibit targeting marketing to people under the age of 17. Would you be willing to agree to prohibit targeted marketing to people, Americans under the age of 17?
Congressman, we have actually stricter rules for advertisers in terms of what they can show to our
So
users
do you
under the age of 18.
would you be willing to prohibit targeted marketing to those under 17? That's what's in our bill.
I understand that there's some talk and some legislation around the country.
Well, again,
studying
I'm
this.
wanting you to make that commitment without the legislation. Since you say you're a good company, you want to do good things, why not?
It's something we can look into and get back to you.
Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, we also have in our bill a requirement of heightened protection for sensitive data, particularly location and health data. Would you commit to not gathering or dealing with location or health data unless you get affirmative consent from the consumer? In other words, under our bill, those are categorized as sensitive, and unless the person specifically says, I want you to collect that data, you wouldn't be able to, location and health data. Would you commit to that?
Congressman, in principle, I support that. Which, by the way, we do not collect precise GPS data at this point, and I do not believe we collect any health data.
All right, so would you be willing to make that commitment that from now on you won't collect location and health data without, you're saying at all? Is that
Congressman,
a commitment?
this is data that's frequently collected by many other companies in our industry.
I know other companies do it. I don't think they should without affirmative consent. You said you want to be a good actor, so why not make that commitment to me today?
We're committed to be very transparent with our users about what we collect. I don't think what we collect, I don't believe what we collect is more than most
You see,
players
my
in the
problem
industry.
here is you're trying to give the impression that you're going to move away from Beijing and the Communist Party. You're trying to give the impression that you're a good actor. But the commitments that we would seek to achieve those goals are not being made today. They're just not being made. You're going to continue to gather data, you're going to continue to sell data, you're going to continue to do all these things and continue to be under the aegis of the Communist Party through your organization that owns you. So in any case, thank you, Madam Chair.
Gentleman yields back. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Burgess, for 5 minutes.